and billions of dollars with
Yeah, I mean, bro, while affordability is getting worse for your average American, I mean, hey, I mean, the weapons companies is making money, the oil companies making money, but not the American people though. We're kind of getting drained of money. But it is what it is, guys, because Republicans say, look, guys, at least Iran won't get a nuke. You just got to deal with higher gas prices and food prices across the board. Oh, and inflation going up. That's all you got to deal with, guys. Even though Iran doesn't have a nuke or any weapons program, we still want you to accept higher prices for this war. I mean, did I sell it to you? Because that's how they're selling it to MAGA, and somehow they're going.
In the Strait of Hormuz, Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it has seized 2 ships in that critical oil shipping route, and Iran's state media saying a 3rd vessel is now, quote, disabled off the country's coast. All of this just hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire with Iran indefinitely. Let's go to CNN's Nick Robertson, who is in Islamabad, Pakistan, where those possible new talks between the U.S. and Iran are on hold. What do you know about these ships in Iran, that the one in particular that was seized in the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I think there are several things happening here all at the same time. The president said there's divisions inside the Iranian leadership. We are absolutely seeing that play out in real time. On the one hand, you have ongoing diplomacy here in Islamabad, the Iranian ambassador going in to meet the prime minister. And on the other hand, you have the IRGC claiming that it has taken control of a number of ships in the Strait of Hormuz, at least one ship reporting an IRGC.
Oh, guys, I just had to do a little oil price report. So you got, man, you know how we were like back down at 80, guys? You know, when we really need to get back down to $67 per barrel. But we were at 80 and everybody was clapping it up and all that good stuff. I mean, what does this say? Like, bro, right back up. Brent oil rises above $100 after Iran seizes container ships. U.S. maintains naval blockade. Like, bro, and who's this coming from? I believe. Oh, yeah, CNBC. Like, bro, what is this? What are we doing, guys? Like, is this winning? Is this winning the war, guys? Does this look like we're anywhere close to, you know, getting out of this? And I'm not calling it a forever war because I don't want this to be a forever war. But if we're just going to be having these duplicitous negotiation tactics with Iran, then this is going to turn into a forever war.
Vessel coming up, an IRGC gunboat coming alongside of it. No radio communications. The gunboat starts shooting up that container ship.
I want you to all realize that it was at $67 before all of this. Yeah.
Severe damage to the bridge. We understand no one injured there. And another ship in the same sort of area in the Strait of Hormuz, not far from the Iranian coastline, also shot up. Again, that ship, the crew, not damaged, but the IRGC here, the military, if you will, the hardliners in Iran, are signaling what we're hearing from the politicians. And the politicians are saying in Iran that the U.S. blockade on the stations and
this is pretty much what's going on. Yes, Trump extended the ceasefire indefinitely after saying, oh, we're going to blow up power plants and bridges again. But, well, I mean, he taco Trumped, and I'm not mad at it. I would not want him to carry that out, so I ain't mad at it. U.S. blockade on Iranian ports remained, even though we told them we was going to remove our naval blockade for them to open up the strait, and they fulfilled their side of the deal, but we didn't fulfill ours. It's just like the JCPOA, sadly. And then, of course, Vance's Pakistan trip called off because the Iranians are like, bro, we don't even trust y'all no more. Y'all not calling off y'all naval blockade. Y'all talking about you won't let it off. You won't like stop blockading of our ports unless we come to a nuclear deal, aka give up our nuclear enrichment. And Iran is like, okay, great. We're just going to close down the strait. All right. America said, fantastic. We're just going to start snatching ships. And then Iran said, yo, okay, we bet. We're going to start snatching ships as well. And here we are.
Politicians are saying in Iran that the U.S. blockade on the Strait of Hormuz must be lifted. And President Trump was very clear last night when he, in his Truth Social post, extended the ceasefire. He also said, I'm not lifting the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. Now, how does that play into what's happening in Iran with those leaders there who, the more moderates we might call them, who want to get into the talks.
Oh, guys, can you go ahead and double tap that screen for me, guys? Let's go ahead and get those likes up by double tapping that screen and liking the video. And if you've got any questions, comments, jokes, and disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 up, just super chat it in, or you can send a Venmo, and it helps us get towards the goal. So we can open up the call-in line and have some of you guys up here.
Well, we heard from the foreign minister there, who was the number 2 at the talks last week, saying that absolutely the United States needs to lift the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. It's clear. President Trump's made that clear. That's not going to happen. We had the leader of those negotiations saying that, from the Iranian side, saying that they weren't going to come into the talks under the shadow of threats. Now, the perception here in the region was clear that President Trump wanted to use the end of the ceasefire as a lever in the talks, as pressure on the Iranians. So it does appear, by extending the ceasefire, the president's taken off that pressure point. However, the Iranians have come out and said, we didn't ask for that ceasefire to be removed. The diplomatic maneuvers here that we see in this city would indicate there's circumstantial evidence to suggest that the Iranians may well have asked for that ceasefire that was put forward by the Prime Minister, that the Foreign Minister here yesterday, that the Field Marshal here contacted President Trump about.
So I'm gonna be real with you. What's pretty much going on is that China and Pakistan are literally trying to drag Iran, kicking and screaming to the negotiation table. And let's be real, they don't really want to. They don't trust us in negotiation. They don't believe that we'll actually carry out what we say. And I mean, they rightfully have a reason to believe that, let's be honest. And we're in China and Pakistan are really trying to drag these guys in. Like, look, bro, you gotta talk to the Americans and end this shit because we're all suffering. Iran's pretty much going like, nope, don't trust them. I don't even know how y'all trust them, but we're gonna stay here and keep fighting. They're like, no, look, you're gonna come. I'm gonna tell the Americans you're coming, so just come along. China needs you to come along too, and they're your biggest buyer. So I don't know. China might have even been threatening Iran too. Like, look, we won't buy as much oil from you guys if you guys keep this up. Like, we need the Strait of Hormuz open. So I'm pretty sure even allies of Iran are breathing down their neck, going like, bro, can we end this? Just like our allies are breathing down our neck, like, yo, y'all need to speed this up.
Acted upon, but the diplomacy on the ground is playing out here, and the hope here is, contacts I talked to, that the talks can still happen. That optimism is still here.
Colonel, give us some sense of what the rules of war here are and what you make of this latest move by Iran seizing these ships after the United States seized one of theirs, I think, in the Sea of Oman.
Yeah, this is a very interesting development, Sarah, because what you're seeing is, as far as the rules of war are concerned, there's definitely an escalation here. Now, a country can seize ships if it believes that there is, some criminal activity going on, or there's a threat to their national security or their national sovereignty. So that's going to be Iran's point of view. And in this particular case, what you're seeing is you've got these ships, and now they are basically a bargaining chip for the Iranians. They're coming into these potential talks with ships in their possession. They have a third one, as you mentioned, that's disabled, that could also be seized. So you have a situation where they're going to come in and they're going to take as much advantage as they possibly can of the different ships that are out there, and any ship that's trying to run their blockade. They're going to try to take it over, because they are saying that they can control the Strait of Hormuz and extract tolls and things like that. So that's going to be a significant thing.
Look, Beth, when you're looking at this scenario, there was a report out by the Wall Street Journal, and they basically said the Iranians take Trump for a sucker. How many times do they expect him to play this game before they reopen the Strait of Hormuz, in their opinion section? Of course, the president responded with a long rant, angry about that. But is that what's happening here? Or is it just this disjointed situation where you don't have, as you said, the final arbiter in all of this?
Well, I think that, while they don't have the final arbiter, we do know that the IRGC is ascendant, right? We do know, and we also know that even before the war, that the IRGC had more power in that state than any other institution. So that is happening right now, and I think that.
I ain't gonna lie though. My man Trump has been really sensitive lately. Like, bro, everybody, and like I said, anybody that disagrees with this war, this man just goes at it completely, bro. Man, giving 2-page True Social posts, guys. 2 pages. Man, writing an essay for your ass if you doubt this war and you got a name to yourself. I'm sorry, but this is obviously showing that he's not too confident in this.
I wouldn't term it in the way that the Wall Street Journal did, but clearly the Iranians are reading us. They called our bluff and they said, we're not showing up. You didn't, we never said we were going to show up. We're not showing up. And what did President Trump do? He said, we're going to bomb there. We're going to resume bombing. And now we didn't. And so by that, while I think this was absolutely the right thing to do, because resuming bombing wasn't going to get us closer to a negotiated solution, which is the only way we can get out of this. But at the same time, the Iranians take this as us, chickening out.
I want to ask you, Colonel Layton, there's been a lot of talk from the Trump administration about demolishing Iran's capabilities militarily, its missiles, it's talked about. But we're seeing them parade this ballistic missile, in the streets of Tehran. What do you make of that vision there and what they're trying to say militarily here?
Yeah, so by parading that missile, Sarah, what they're doing is they're saying we've got stuff, and as Beth was mentioning, they still have cards, and that ballistic missile, of a type that we haven't quite assessed yet, is a potential weapon that they can use, and they can use it potentially for long range activities. Are they going to go after Israel again? Are they going to go after U.S. targets in the Middle East or beyond? Are they going to go after European targets? All those things are possible. And what the Iranians are saying with this is that they have demonstrated capabilities. And it is kind of in line with what the director of the DIA mentioned in his testimony recently, which was that about half of Iran's launching capabilities, missile launch capabilities, and the actual missiles themselves are still in existence. So that is something that where you talk about destruction.
Yeah, and that came from U.S. intelligence as well. But I mean, man, they only said 1/3 of their missiles have been used or destroyed, and another third of them is just buried under rubble. And I'm just like, yeah, we ain't really do nothing to their missile stockpile at all. Actually, they got enough. They got missiles ready to go, guys, hypersonic missiles and more. So yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people actually does doubt Iran's military capability, and rightfully so, because it ain't, bro, it's nothing compared to ours. But when it comes to them being able to exercise their military capability across the region, that's where it becomes a problem to us, because we can't stop those hypersonic missiles from hitting, power plants in the Gulf region, water salinations in the Gulf region. We can't stop them from hitting our bases. That's just a fact there. I mean, look what they're doing to Israel. I mean, Israel can barely stop anything coming from Iran because Iran's just overwhelming their Iron Dome.
That hasn't directly happened. It has happened in a lot of, when it comes to a large portion of their arsenal, but it has not happened in terms of the totality of that arsenal. So they still have something that they can play with here.
Joining us right now is Republican Congressman Marlon Stutzman of Indiana for much more on this. Let's talk about, Congressman, thanks for coming in. Iran now saying that they want the United States to end this blockade on Iranian ports, and then they'll start talks back up. Do you think the president should lift the blockade? What should be his next move?
No, he definitely should not lift the blockade. One thing we know about this Iranian regime, and again, we're trying to still figure out.
I mean, this is where I disagree. I mean, look, Iran said that they were going to open up the Strait of Hormuz if we lift the blockade. They did that. They actually showed us first that, all right, look, we'll open the Strait of Hormuz. Look, 14 ships got through. You happy? We were like, yeah, but we're not going to lift that blockade. And here he is saying that, no, I don't think he should lift it. Well, then you can't be mad that they, closed down the strait again. We really can't be mad that every time we try to have a deal with them and they hold out on their part, they actually do their part, we don't do ours, and we get mad at them. It's I'm sorry, but what's the even point of negotiating with these guys if we're just going to do all these duplicitous negotiation tactics or diplomatic tactics? We might as well just keep on going to war with them if we're just going to feign diplomacy.
Who's in charge there is they are a propaganda machine. That is one thing they are good at. They're good at moving the goalposts. They're good at saying one thing and doing another. And that's why I think that the Achilles heel for the regime is the Straits of Hormuz. We have to shut off their cash flow. And by blocking the straits, that
here's the thing though, it's funny how they're talking about shutting off their cash flow on the Strait of Hormuz, like they're not cutting off everybody else's cash flow as well. I'm like, it ain't just Iran's cash flow you're cutting off. I hope y'all know this. I mean, it's our allies as well. It's the UAE, it's Qatar, it's Saudi Arabia, Oman. Like those, they're cutting off their cash flow as well. Oh, Iraq too. So I'm sorry, but sitting there trying to pretend like this is only affecting what Iran is low-key a bit slow. And let's be real, Iran, they're fighting literally for their country's existence. So they're not really worried about getting a paycheck right now.
keeps the oil and gas.
Self-sufficient country, guys. Got their own oil. They can make their own rockets in-house. They make their own drones in-house. So they don't really need to get anything outside.
From flowing out and funding their war machine. Again, they're good at propaganda. We've seen this from time, for the last 40 years. And I think that's what's important here is to be sure that we just simply cut off their cash and force them to find a better solution within their government.
But as a point of clarity, the president of the United States at the very same time has been demanding as part of a ceasefire condition that the Strait of Hormuz be opened back up. And you're saying, but the U.S. should now keep it closed.
Well, I think President Trump will keep it closed in order to put the pressure on IRGC. It appears the IRGC military is, taking charge. Not sure exactly who the person is at the top of the food chain, but I think that keeping we can't let the Straits of Hormuz be open for some and not for others. And I think what's happening here too is that you have China and Europe and others starting to say they're feeling the effects of this, and so hopefully a broader coalition of countries come together and help figure this out. I think in the long run, the IRGC just simply cannot be the ones in charge of the Straits of Hormuz because it's too big to the rest of the world. We need to be sure that the ships can flow in and out of there, not just for oil and gas, but fertilizer and other commodities as well.
All right, now, excuse me. Let's get a little bit off the Iran war because we do got a bit of a problem here. This was crazy. So what was it? VA is now allowed to redraw their their congressional map, and is overly going to favor the Democrats, aka it does seem like Virginia is lost, as they've been saying all over X.
We have some breaking news tonight, as CNN can now project that Virginia voters have approved a Democratic plan to dramatically redraw the state's congressional map.
Oh, guys, and if you've got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to go ahead and super chat it in to support the show, or just send a gift or a Venmo. Appreciate the support. But please, super chat. Please double tap that screen and like the video because that's free. I mean, that's easy. So just double tap that screen. Appreciate the support.
92% of the results are in, with just over 50